Proposition 47, Criminal Sentence, Misdemeanor Penalties, Initiative Statute. Plain language, reclassify certain drug and theft offenses as misdemeanors instead of felonies. What does it do? The following crimes would be reclassified as misdemeanors instead of felonies: certain drug possession offenses, petty thefts, receiving stolen property, and forging or writing bad checks. However, these crimes would only be downgraded if the amount involved was under $950. Prop 47 wouldn't apply if the person has previous convictions for rape, murder, or child molestation, or if they are a registered sex offender. Prop 47 would apply retroactively, requiring the resentencing of people currently serving felony sentences that Prop 47 would apply to, unless the court finds that it would pose an unreasonable public safety risk to do so. Finally, it applies the savings that this policy would generate to mental health and drug treatment programs, K-12 schools, and crime victims. Long story short, there are three types of crimes: felonies, misdemeanors, and infractions, a felony being the worst. In recent years, there have been about 220,000 felony convictions each year. Within the felony classification, there are four subclassifications: felonies that are serious, felonies that are violent, felonies that are both, and felonies that are neither. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty, but the deal is this: felonies that are violent, serious, or both are the worst crimes, like murder, armed robbery, rape, etc. And the other felonies are the good felonies, or whatever. We'll talk about those in a second. Anyway, Prop 47 would reduce the penalties for certain non-serious and non-violent property and drug crimes as long as the person hasn't previously committed one of a list of serious crimes listed in the measure, such as murder or certain sex and gun crimes. Specifically, the following crimes would be reduced from felonies to misdemeanors when the amount involved is less than $950: grand theft, shoplifting, receiving stolen property, writing bad checks, check forgery, and drug possession. It is estimated that Prop 47 would apply to about 40,000 offenders each year. Under Prop 47, none of these offenders would be sent to state prison. They would all serve shorter sentences in county jails. Current inmates serving felony sentences for the aforementioned crimes would have their sentences downgraded to misdemeanors unless the court finds it would be unsafe to do so. Offenders who are resentenced would be required to be on state parole for 1 year unless the judge chooses to waive that requirement. All of the money saved from implementing Prop 47 would be applied to a new fund called the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Fund and would be divided as follows: 25% for grants aimed at reducing truancy and dropout amongst K-12 students in public schools, 10% for victim service grants, and 65% to support mental health and drug abuse treatment services that are designed to help keep individuals out of prison and jail. Fiscal impact. Because there are endless variables that would affect this proposition in the future, such as how many crimes are committed in a given year, how many inmates are sentenced to jail versus community supervision, and for how long, any estimates are highly uncertain. But it is estimated that the fiscal impact of Prop 47 would be a savings in the low hundreds of millions to the state and several hundreds of $millions more to county criminal justice systems. Those savings would then be applied to school truancy and dropout prevention programs, mental health and substance abuse treatment, and victim services, in theory resulting in a break-even situation over time. From the people at Yes on Prop 47. Prop 47 is supported by law enforcement, crime victims, and teachers because it will improve public safety, reduce prison spending and government waste, and dedicate hundreds of millions of dollars to K-12 schools, crime victims, and mental health treatment and drug treatment. Prop 47 prioritizes serious and violent crimes and stops wasting prison space on petty crimes. It keeps dangerous criminals locked up because it authorizes felonies for registered sex offenders and anyone with a prior conviction for rape. For far too long, California's overcrowded prisons have been disproportionately draining taxpayer dollars and law enforcement resources and incarcerating too many people convicted of low-level, non-violent offenses. The state spends $9 billion per year on the prison system. In the last 30 years, California has built 22 new prisons, but only one university. Don't be fooled by the opposition. Prop 47 doesn't require the automatic release of anyone. It includes strict protections to make sure rapists, murderers, molesters, and the most dangerous criminals can't benefit. It maintains penalties for gun crimes. Under Prop 47, possessing a stolen concealed gun remains a felony. Additional felony penalties to prevent felons and gang members from obtaining guns also apply. Prop 47 does not reduce penalties for sex crimes. Under Prop 47, using or attempting to use any kind of drug to commit date rape or any other felony remains a felony. Thank you. From the No on Prop 47 side. This isn't just a poorly written initiative. It is an invitation for disaster. Prosecutors and those concerned about protecting the innocent from violent sexual abuse, identity theft, and other serious crimes overwhelmingly oppose Prop 47. 10,000 inmates will be eligible for early release, many of whom have prior convictions for serious crimes such as assault, armed robbery, home burglary, arson, assault with a deadly weapon, and more. They wrote this measure so that judges will not be able to block the early release of these prison inmates, even if the judge finds that these inmates pose a significant risk for committing crimes like kidnapping, robbery, assault, spousal abuse, torture of small animals, carjacking, or felonies committed on behalf of a street gang. Prop 47 requires their release. It's so poorly drafted that illegal possession of date rape drugs will be reduced to a slap on the wrist. It undermines sex crimes laws. No matter how many times the suspected sexual predator has been charged with possession of date rape drugs, it will only be a misdemeanor and the judge will be forced to sentence them as if it were their first time in court. Currently, stealing guns requires automatic felony prosecution, but under Prop 47, stealing a handgun valued at less than $950 will no longer be a felony. People stealing guns are protected under Prop 47. California Retailers Association President Bill Dombrowski says reducing penalties for theft, receiving stolen property, and forgery could cost retailers and consumers millions of dollars. There are no petty criminals in our systems anymore. First-time low-level drug offenders are already sent to diversion programs, not prison. California has plenty of laws and programs that allow judges and prosecutors to keep first-time low-level offenders out of jail if it's appropriate. Prop 47 would strip judges and prosecutors of that discretion. Prop 47 will burden our criminal justice system. This measure will overcrowd jails with dangerous felons who should be in state prison and jam California's courts with hearings to provide get-out-of-prison-free cards. All these people hate Prop 47. Protect our communities. Vote no on Prop 47. I can understand where the yes people are coming from in that some people probably are over-sentenced from time to time by zealous judges and prosecutors, and likewise I can see the value in focusing crime forces on bigger, more heinous crimes rather than smaller ones. However, when I first read the bill, I hearkened back to 2012 when we passed an entirely different proposition, Prop 36 to be exact, in order to weaken the three strikes law, and I voted yes on that. Now they want to relax our laws even further, you little crime-loving rascals, you. I might be drawn to this a little more if at least the savings would go to making California more solvent. But of course, that can never be the case. We must spend every dime we save on something new and claim that it's for our schools and firemen. On the one hand, I understand the value of easing prison overcrowding and focusing law enforcement on important crimes. On the other hand, I have trouble pitying shoplifters, identity thieves, and druggies, and I think that if they can do the crime, they can do the time. And then on the third hand, I'm not really that concerned about this proposition and whether it passes or fails. But since I got a vote, I'll say no on Prop 47. I'll take my license plate in blue, please. I've always loved those cute little blue license plates they make, don't you? If you vote yes on Prop 47, you are voting to downgrade certain theft and drug-related crimes from a felony to a misdemeanor to create savings that would go to schools, crime prevention, and mental health. If you vote no, nothing changes. You wake up tomorrow and continue life as previously scheduled. The Daryl Johnson Show says no on Prop 47. Well, if I get arrested sometime between now and November 4th, then I may change my mind. We can revisit that then. But as long as I'm here and free and at the beach, then no on Prop 47.